Hello, hello, welcome to the Rise Up with Margarita show. I'm Margarita and happy Lionsgate. Today is the peak of the Lionsgate energy. And today is going to be a very special episode of the Rise Up show. So I was about like 5 minutes delayed because I was just on I was on a summit that was really, really amazing and powerful. Just did a training about being embodied in your power on the Lionsgate and performed an activation. It was really, really powerful. So glad to have you here, and hello, hello. Seeing some of the beautiful hearts and shooting stars. So good to see everyone here. And yeah, so today, since it is the peak of the Lionsgate, like first of all, I'm going to share with you what the Lionsgate is, why this is such a powerful, potent time. And then after I share with you what it's about, I'm going to share why it's important for all light workers to consciously create with these frequencies now. I'll share how it can feel in your body because I've been getting a lot of questions around that, like over the weekend. If you were there checking out my stories on IG, I was getting a lot of questions about, well, how's it supposed to feel like? What can I expect? That kind of thing. So I'll be sharing a little bit about that and, how it can feel in your body, how it can show up in your life, that kind of thing. And, I know for me personally, like I woke up and, there was a little bit of some back tightness. And I know for me that when some powerful, powerful energies are about to pop, it just like shows up in some physical ways. So, and then it moves out, right? So such a powerful time. And then I will share how to work with a powerful Lionsgate 8-8 energies. So I love that someone is sharing here. I light up my purple candle to make my psychic and intuition stronger. Beautiful. Yeah, and someone sharing here who was there at the summit that I was just at. She was sharing it was so powerful, the live activation today. Yeah, it was very powerful. Since a lot of you know I'm a keeper of the blue flame, anyone can use the blue flame, right? Like I know other people have used it, but there aren't a lot of people who are a keeper of it. And so I actually brought that in as something to share with others. And I brought that into the activation. So it was super, super powerful. And so I'm going to remind you, since just a little bit of housekeeping, since folks have a lot of questions, I encourage you to kind of hold on to them until closer to the end after the training so that I can really answer them, because otherwise, I'm not going to be really able to answer your questions because I'll be focused on sharing what I'm meant to share with you today, which is all about the Lionsgate. So the Lionsgate, and first of all, if you're just joining and if we haven't met yet, my name is Margarita Alcantara, and I help New Earth leaders activate light and empowerment for the planet and build epic businesses through power activation and mentorship. So if you are curious about all of that, and you want to learn more, and especially if you're inspired after hearing what I'm sharing at today's live, send me a DM and, we'll set you up and we can have a conversation on the phone to talk about your aligned power, what you're creating in the world as a light worker, and the next steps it's going to look like, and have that discussion, because these calls are for those who are really ready for that next step, because it's not, sometimes people get confused with, oh, maybe it's like a psychic reading. No, I don't do psychic readings. So anyone who offers a psychic reading, like all those people who are trying to impersonate me, those are all false because I don't do that. So I am so excited about today. Today is the peak of the Lionsgate 8-8, and why this portal is so important is because actually it is a portal that opened up, it comes once a year. It opened up July 26th, and it basically initiates that opening into the Galactic New Year / Planetary New Year. And so this is when the Earth aligns with Sirius, the Sun, Orion's belt, the Great Pyramids of Giza, the Galactic Center, and it streams galactic light rays in for humanity. And so it begins July 26th, it ends August 12th, and the peak of the energy is supposed to be today, 8-8. Someone is sharing here, in quotes, grand rising. Yeah, that's their pickup line, is grand rising. Another pickup line they love to use, the copycats who try to be me, on Instagram, they say, I saw your name on your handle, and I just felt an energy, and I just had to share something with you, right? It's like, yeah, I don't do that. So yeah, so this is such a powerful portal time. And when you are working with the energies of the Lion's Gate, especially at the peak of it, which is today, but that said, you can work with it at any day, first of all, out of the year. You can work with all these cosmic frequencies any day. But during the Lion's Gate portal time, the span of time, it is, you get a lot of cosmic backing, right? You get a lot of cosmic backing to what it is you are desiring to create. And that's really important to be aware of, because one thing that I spoke about in today's summit that I was just speaking on and performing an activation on for today is, you're creating every single day with every single decision that you make. And with everything that you are consciously doing, you are consciously creating. Whether it is something that you really want or not is like up to you, right? But a lot of people are like, well, I'm not getting what I want, or I'm not creating, I'm not experiencing what I want. And the truth is they're just simply not lining up the actions to get the result that they desire, right? So that's why it's super important to be conscious about what you're actively creating, because everything counts. So that said, Sirius also, one thing that a lot of people say is the star Sirius when they refer to this Lion's Gate. And the reality is that there's more than one star to Sirius. It's actually a star system. There's actually a Sirius A and B, and there might be a Sirius C actually. But it's Sirius A that is most aligned with this alignment. So it's actually Sirius A. And Sirius acts as the higher self of the Earth. So just keep that in mind. Sirius acts as the higher self of the Earth, providing assistance towards higher consciousness for all of us on our planet as we ascend. So one thing you may know about me, if you've been following me for a while, is that I am a Sirian starseed. I'm also a Blue Avian starseed. And so this is something that, is something I feel really jazzed about every year. And even if I wasn't, I'd be jazzed up. But this is such a powerful, important time to apply what you want to get the cosmic backing around. We are getting streams of light codes like this whole time, right? Like, if you're not feeling it, you must be feeling it, right? I'm certainly feeling it. And especially today, I was just like lit. Like as soon as I woke up and I was in meditation, I was like on, right? And I was getting all these downloads, and I was sharing some of that in this activation that I did earlier today. And then I'll be sharing that with my clients too, because one thing that I do for my clients is I actually perform monthly activations, and I record them, and I wanted to record theirs today because it's 8/8, so I cannot wait to see what comes out during this activation for my clients. So very excited about that. So here's why it's important for all light workers to consciously create with these frequencies now. As I said, you're creating something every moment of the day with every single decision you make. No pressure, right? But that's the truth, is that everything that is happening in your life now is a conscious creation of yourself. Maybe not conscious, I guess, because it's not always conscious, right? Sometimes there's this aspect of, oh, I'm just running with things and I'm just at the will of whatever's going on in my life, right? And that's not a very conscious way of creating. But when you're consciously creating, you are setting intentions about what it is you want to experience, and then you're going out and making it happen, basically, right? So for light workers who are committed to being New Earth leaders, and sometimes I get asked, well, what does that even mean, right? Because basically the New Earth, it's already here. And the old Earth is basically what we are seeing crumble around us, right? Like that's important so that the new Earth can then really get situated and settle in. And when light workers who are committed to being New Earth leaders, they're really more focusing on the commitment on what's required. And so there's this aspect of committing to your growth and your aligned path when you're truly a leader, right? You're like literally committing to your growth. It's like whatever it takes, whatever is required, I'm ready to do it kind of thing, right? And being aligned in your aligned path. It also means when you're a new earth leader that you are surrendering to your power. This is something I talked about today at that summit I was speaking on and performing an activation on. This is not, old paradigm is all about pushing. I see so many light workers who leave like comments in the, at my posts, and, may even DM me. And it's always this thing of, it's so hard. It's so hard. I need to push. I need to be aggressive. I need to like pound this thing into the ground, right? It's like, that was very like 80s shoulder pads, like time, right? Like, I mean, if you get what I'm talking about, you get what I'm talking about. It's old, right? It's not even around anymore. That was like all that whole, work yourself to the bone, do it until you fall apart, right? Like, I mean, that is very old paradigm. It is not what we get to work with now. What we get to work with now is a lot more about flow. It's a lot more about opening. It's a lot more about receiving and surrender. It's not about pushing. So if you are using those words, pushing, you are already out of alignment, right? And this is all about surrendering to your power, because it's big. And a lot of light workers, they say to me, oh, but my power, it's like people can't handle it. You can't handle it. Like I've heard people tell me that. You can't handle my power. And it's like, well, it looks like there's some work there in there for you, right? Because the truth is, it's not about handling your power, right? It's not about pushing in your power. It's not about controlling your power. It's about surrendering to your power. I mean, that's like a paradigm shift right there, right? And when also you're a new earth leader, you're also regularly taking action outside of your comfort zone. And so, yes, baby steps all add up. They all add up for sure. But it's really when you take those aligned but scary AF actions that push you, like let's say in front of the camera, if you're nervous about that, or if you're nervous to put your services out in the world, actually putting your services out in the world, right? All these things that push yourself out of the comfort zone actually help you grow. And if you're in your comfort zone, you're not growing. And I actually had a light worker contest me on that and said, oh no, I'm growing and I'm staying in my comfort zone. And it's like, I'm curious about how that works. I'm really curious about how that works. And lastly, about being a new earth leader, is that you're also figuring out what you need to fulfill your destiny. And all of this is about mastery at the next level. That's what all of this is about. So it's really all about mastery at the next level. What is it that you are here to experience, embody, create? And that is why it's so important to be using this powerful frequency and energy. Colleen is sharing here on Facebook. She's feeling the portal energies, and also surrender keeps coming up. Absolutely. Right? It's going to keep coming up to you until you actually surrender to your power. That's how it works, folks. It's not about what do I need to push? What do I need to be aggressive about in order to make this happen? It's like, really, it's about surrender. How can you soften into this, right? Because I am an activator for the new code of power. And so people think I'm this, aggressive, pushy person. And especially because I live in New York City. And it's like, I will tell you how it is. You can guarantee that from me. I'm not going to sugarcoat things and, be just love and light about stuff. I mean, at the end of the day, it is all love and light, but love and light doesn't always look like cotton candy and, skipping in the daisies, right? Like it looks like doing the work. It looks like getting in, standing in the fire of your transformation, doing the hard things, really, right? So here's how the Lionsgate 8-8 energies can feel. I'm not going to say you're definitely going to feel this, you're definitely going to feel this, or you're not going to definitely feel this. It is, these are some of the things that can show up on the physical level when we're in the Lionsgate. And so I'm going to just speak generally, and then I'm going to also speak into, um, those who might feel it in different ways. So I'm going to share this with you. Okay. So generally, how it can show up in your life when you're in these line gate frequencies, you are going to feel a shift. Like, I mean, everyone's getting upgraded, everyone, right? Like, even the people who don't want to be upgraded, they're still getting an upgrade. They're getting something, right? They're getting some kind of upgrade, and whether or not they want to take it, it's up to them, honestly, right? I mean, it's always your choice. You're a divine sovereign being, and you get to make your own choices for yourself. And so this is something where, if you allow it, if you allow yourself to receive, then you'll feel it, right? But in general, there is an upgrade, period, happening in the world. So there's a shift in frequency, consciousness. Everyone will feel it differently depending on where you're at in your journey and the amount of inner work that you're doing. And so sometimes people feel super energized, jazzed up. Sometimes people feel super tired. Even if you've had a lot of rest, and even if you're healthy, you might feel like kind of tired all of a sudden, and there's no explanation for it. That can be also a way it shows up. Excuse me. And just a reminder too, hold your questions until towards the end so I can answer them then, because right now I'm going to be giving you the tea. So when you feel tired from this kind of energy, and also you may be feeling it a lot, especially, because it's not just the Lion's Gate, right? We're feeling also the Schumann resonance. That's been like going higher and higher and higher, and there have been numerous times where it goes off the scale into white hot, right? Because the energy is super high for the Schumann resonance. And for you who don't know, the Schumann resonance is it's basically like Gaia's heartbeat, basically, right? Because she's also ascending. You are ascending, and so is Gaia. And so this is really important to note that when you get upgrades, and this is just like in general, not even the Lion's Gate only, right? But you might feel it a little bit more right now. You might feel the tiredness, and that's because energetically you may be like on it, but physically, because your body is matter, you're going to be like your body's catching up, basically, right? It's basically carbon based, and we're actually shifting on a cellular level. Like, we're literally changing on a cellular level, shifting from carbon based to like light body, diamond body, that kind of thing. So it's so important to just realize that. Be patient with yourself. Don't be like, oh my God, why is my body being like this right now, right? It's just really be patient with your body, because your body is physical matter, right? And you energetically, yes, you are a being of light, and maybe your downloads are happening like that, and maybe you already acclimated it, but your body is another story. Your body needs some time, right? And depending on if you've been doing a lot of the internal work, it might be quicker. If you're new to this work, or you haven't been doing it all that long, or you're resisting yourself, then it might take a little longer. But I mean, it's still all perfect, right? It's your journey. Your journey's perfect. Another thing you may feel is you might feel movement in the body. You might feel kind of like energy, like kind of going from one hand to the other, or going up or going down, or rotating or spinning. You might feel any of those things. You may also feel temporary tightness or pain in certain areas of your body, or even certain chakras, as they expand and upgrade. And so one great example of this is that sometimes, you might get like a tightness in the head, especially what's called a vertex headache, which is at the top of the head, or you may get like a temporal headache, which is more on the sides of the head, right? But if it's like up here, then that's more of like a crown chakra, thing activating, right? If it's more like around here, then it's more third eye awakening, and so forth, right? I mean, it really is basically aligned with the chakras. If it's like your shoulder, then which is aligned with the throat, right? Then it's just maybe there's room for you to speak your truth, right? And I was just going to get to this point. Someone was sharing my back and stomach were killing me for 5 days, no previous pain ever. Yeah. And so that's the solar plexus, right? In terms of the stomach. And so there's maybe room there to explore, okay, where are you feeling held back in your power? Because that's what the solar plexus chakra is all about, right? It's your personal power. It's all about control or control issues. Like if you're being controlling over someone, or someone's being controlling over you, kind of thing, there's room to explore that. And so basically, listen to your body right now. Listen to your body right now, because, hold on. Excuse me. Talk about clearing. I rarely sneeze. And for me to sneeze, there's something clearing going on. So I love that. I love that. See that, because that's, I know my body so well that when I'm sneezing like that, it's like, ooh, I am clearing something. And it might be more than just my stuff. Usually it's a collective thing, you know. So the temporary tightness or pain. Listen to your body. Listen to what your body's telling you, instead of, like, you know, thinking of like a certain pain point or whatever and being like, oh, why is this happening? You know, or being impatient with yourself, right? Instead of that reaction, I invite you to get curious. Like, oh, what's that? What's that about? Like, that wasn't there before. What is this telling me? And like literally go into your body, into your frequency, like in a moment of stillness or meditation, and just get curious about, okay, what am I holding on to? What is this about, right? And just get curious about it, and then just receive the information from your higher self. So yeah, so those are some of the general things you may feel. Excuse me. So those are some of the general things you may feel energetically. And if you're new on your path, or you're not yet fully connected with yourself and your consciousness yet, you may feel nothing, or maybe you just feel a little bit, or maybe you're a little confused. That can happen too. One thing that I noticed, one person said that, oh my gosh, every single year that this, you know, Lionsgate happens, like I feel like really ungrounded. And that's usually because you haven't yet learned how to ground yourself yet. So that's information, right? It's like good to know. So like, okay, so I'm noticing that I get ungrounded around this time. So I'm going to up my game with grounding things that will really ground me, right? So that could look like putting your bare feet in the earth, you know, going for a swim, or, you know, being in salt water, or taking an Epsom salt bath, right? That's also super grounding, and it clears your auric field. Or, you know, eating root vegetables, and, you know, breathing with the trees, you know, that's like actually a technique. I'm a Chinese medicine practitioner, licensed acupuncturist. I also do herbs and things like that as well. And that's one thing that, you know, we have learned about, is the chi and everything, the energy and everything. And so this is, you can even just like cycle energy with a tree, you know, and give as you receive, and that kind of thing. That is also super grounding. There's so many ways to ground, but that is one possibility, right? Zachary's mentioning, this is the first year I've been somewhat conscious with the Lionsgate. The last 2 years on my conscious journey, I definitely found this portal super intense because I wasn't grounded. Yeah, that can definitely happen. And that's so amazing, right? Congratulations, Zachary. You're now like really feeling anchored in. That's amazing. And so another thing too is, if you're really new on your spiritual journey, or you're not really doing the work, you're not really connected with yourself just yet, you might feel kind of like irritable. You might feel like really irritated by all of this energy, right? Which is okay. You know, I mean, it is what it is. There's no judgment there, because I've definitely been in that place before where I was like, oh my God, what is all this action going on, right? But not anymore. I'm actually like, oh, I can't wait to see what download I get now, right? And so those are some of the things that can happen. So those who are doing the inner work, may experience, I'm not going to say will because it looks different for everybody, right? Because sometimes we're fluctuating in between, oh yeah, I'm like conscious now, right? Versus not really being there yet, and sometimes it fluctuates. So how it can show up for those who are doing the inner work, you may experience longer states of cosmic connection. I definitely felt that this morning. I woke up and I was like, doing. I was like, light bulb just like opened up, and I was just, it's like, hello world. I was so on as soon as I was awake. And actually I didn't sleep that well too, because I was so jazzed up. And you may experience states of bliss. Me personally, I feel that sometimes it's less of the random versus when I'm actually in a meditation. When I'm in meditation, I'm just like plugged in, I'm tapped in into the universal web, basically. Like as soon as I drop in, it's basically, if you're doing the work and you do stuff like meditation like on a regular basis, like I do that like every day, like non-negotiable. Like I don't care what's going on in my day, but my meditation gets to happen before anything, before I put on my face, anything, right? And so what you'll notice if you're kind of in that routine, you'll tap in. You'll just tap in real much more quickly, or your downloads will come in, or they'll feel more clear, or you'll be like, oh, okay, that was very clear this time, right? And it'll feel like that. Another thing is that you will be really connecting with this God light, infinity, abundance, energy, frequency. Like you're going to really be feeling others in a way, if you know what I mean. Like you'll really be feeling other people's frequencies who are also at that frequency, right? And there's no judgment about this. It's just simply whatever you're resonating at, that's what you're picking up. What you're putting down, you're picking up, right? Or what you're picking up, you're putting down as well. And so you will be able to feel the collective. And when you're doing that inner work and you're feeling all these cosmic frequencies, you can actually feel the other light workers and their energy. And it's really powerful and beautiful and amazing. Just checking out a share here. I felt the energy move up my body, says someone here. Shorty Gem, I think it is. This morning during the meeting, also I have been dreaming about future events. I've been cleaning up my energy, so I think that is helping me connect with everything. Absolutely. 110% that is helping you. Like I don't even know you personally, but I can say for sure that is happening, right? And the reason why is because whenever you clear your energy, you are making space for something bigger, right? You're making space for what is aligned. Whenever you release, clear out, let go of anything that is no longer serving you, and you make space for that which is, like the magic happens. And another thing that you may experience if you are doing that inner work at this time is that you'll have easier communications with your star families. And I know definitely that was something that I got to enjoy today. And so if you're a star seed, meaning that you have origins in other star systems and you've consciously incarnated on this planet, especially at this time during the planetary awakening, in order to raise the consciousness of humanity and bring the consciousness of the stars to Earth, you are a starseed. And I'm a starseed, and that's something that, I talk about a lot because it's just, it's what I do. It's very connected to my work and my mission on this planet. So, so that's like a lovely thing you'll be able to experience, is that you'll connect with your star families probably a little bit more easily. So that's a beautiful thing. Also, you will probably manifest things faster of what you want to consciously create and unconsciously create. So just be aware of that too, right? One thing that I shared in my IG stories over the weekend is that you want to be really conscious about what you are focusing on. And that's, it's kind of like manifestation 101, right? It's like, if you don't want something to happen, stop putting your attention there. Stop focusing on it. Stop energizing and making it a thing, right? Stop giving it life. In other words, focus on that which you do want, that which you are here to create, and that will show up when you do that. And also some things that may happen is that you might experience spontaneous Kundalini awakening. I was about to say that 3 times fast, right? Spontaneous Kundalini awakening can happen. That can happen. Also, potent chakra release. That can happen just like spontaneously if you're ready, if you've been priming yourself, if you've been clearing your energy and doing the work, right? Like certain things will just clear out because it's just like your body doesn't need it, it's gone, right? Like, and if that's what you want, that's what will happen. Also, third eye activations, crown chakra openings, right? All of this, it's a highly spiritual, it's a highly spiritual cosmic experience. And so there's going to be a lot of all the spiritual chakras involved. And the spiritual chakras are everything above the heart. Heart, throat, third eye, crown, soul star, I mean, there's other chakras above us and below us that not a lot of people talk about, but they're there and they're very powerful and very amazing to work with, especially now. So that said, here's how to work with the powerful Lionsgate 8-8 energies. And some of them I've kind of hinted on to before, but number one is be open to the process of your transformation. And the reason why this is number one is because a lot of light workers still resist not only their power, but their path. And so they'll just like create obstacles, and it may not even be conscious, right? It's just, oh, I'm scared to do this. So, on the subconscious level, you may create something so that you never experience it because it's something you're scared of, right? So when you're open to the process of your transformation, then you allow yourself to be open to the possibilities. You allow yourself to be open to, oh, I'm actually curious. What can I experience? What would it look like for me to be fully embodied in my power? What would that look like for me to be unleashed? What would that, and to get excited about it and get curious about it and be like, what do I get to do to be that, right? And just allow yourself to be open to the process of your transformation. Because if you're closed and if you're holding a lot of fear about your path, about yourself and about your life, that is a fast block to your power, to your abundance, to love, to everything, right? Because everything is connected. And you've heard me say it many times, the way you do one thing is the way you do everything. And so if that is how you are when it comes to your power, there's probably some reflections of how that's looking like in your life as well. Meaning that there are probably areas in your life where you're shutting yourself off from others, from relationships, from your career, from your business, from your children. I mean, the list goes on. So that's why all of this is connected. And if you've heard me share this once, you've heard me share it a couple times, that this is the time for you to be in your power. It's no longer, oh, yeah, I'll get to it. It's something I'll get to when things settle down. This is something that you get to have now. And the reason is because, as I've mentioned in many of my posts and my lives, shit's going to hit the fan, folks. Like, you think that 2020 was like the height of all of this? No, we are just beginning, my dears, and you get to be empowered. And I'm sharing that with you not to be like, oh my God, like be afraid, right? No, be empowered. Be excited that you get to be in your power at this time, that you get to embrace who you are at this time. And, and to top on that is something I shared in the summit today as well, was, a lot of light workers will come to me and be like, oh my God, but I'm so scared about these negative entities and these negative energies and this and that. And it's like, they're more scared of you and your untapped potential. So untap that potential, tap into it, unleash it, and be it, right? Because I mean, that's really what they're afraid of. And that's why the fear paradigm is so rampant and strong, is because it's a last hurrah. It's not because it's powerful. It's because it's trying to stay relevant. And when light workers really activate their power, really open into their power, like they're unstoppable. Like, you don't get it, right? Light workers would be all like, I'm powerful, I'm really like in my power. But then they're holding back on so much of what they're doing, of what they want to do. That's not being in your power, That's having conditions on how your power is supposed to look like. right? And so you get to allow yourself to be powerful. So, and you're more powerful than in any of these entities that you're afraid of. You really are. Yeah, someone's echoing no longer relevant with multiple T's, because it's really that is the emphasis, right? They're no longer relevant. They're trying to be relevant. So we'll give them that. But the reality is that if you kowtow, or whatever that word is, if you bow out of your power and you say, oh no, other people got this, I'm not strong enough, I'm not worthy enough, I don't deserve this, whatever your thing is, heal that shit. Really. And I say this with so much love. Heal it. Heal it. Because that's also number 2. That's step number 2. How to work with the powerful Lionsgate energies. Address, heal, and clear all attachments to fear and trauma, especially around anything keeping you in a victim mode, in scarcity mode, or lack mentality, or in division within yourself or in the world. Right? And I'm talking about like anywhere where you're seeing yourself as not whole, or divided within yourself, or like dividing yourself out in the world, like needing to identify yourself with like 10 million things to like divvy it up, right? Like, no, this is about oneness. This is not about, let's see how much we can be different from other people, right? This is about oneness. And the faster you get that, the faster your movement will happen in your life. Honestly, it's all in energy. Once you get on the energy bandwagon with yourself and your higher self, like once you're all working together versus, fighting each other, things will go so much more smoothly, because energy is energy. And when you shift on the energy realm, it shows up on the physical realm. And that is in regards to everything you're creating. Anything you are energetically energizing, focusing on, you will physically create that. Guaranteed. So address, heal, and clear all attachments to fear and trauma. Stop being so attached to your trauma. Like, it's one thing to, have an experience and then be like, wow, that's trauma, right? So yes, go address it. Go address it, heal it, love it up, clear it. And then, and then be more embodied in your life, right? And so, because one thing that I know, that I've seen with a lot of light workers is that they're kind of attached to their trauma. I've seen a lot of light workers with that. Not everyone is like that, of course, but a lot of light workers are really digging their trauma. Like they say, oh my God, I'm in so much trauma, but they like to talk about it so much, right? So it's like, well, stop talking about it and start doing something about it, right? So heal that. And the reason why is because anywhere where you are unhealed, where you are still carrying trauma and victimhood, that is where all those negative energies can enter, right? That's where you can get distracted. That's where you are weak, in your energy field. So you want to make sure that you're not leaking out all this energy, because, it's important when you are an empath to have healthy energy boundaries, including your energy field and, what you're allowing in and allowing out and opening up into. Number 3, get clear on what you want and your purpose so you can be focused in your intention. So a lot of light workers say, oh, I want clarity. I want to get clear on my purpose. Well, the reality is that you do know what your purpose is. All of us know what our purpose is, but it's just a matter of allowing yourself to connect to it, meaning connect with your higher self, doing the work to get clear in your energy, to connect with your higher self, and to listen. Ask your higher self, okay, what is this? And listen. Because if you listen, you'll get all the information. If you're not listening, you'll just say, oh, I don't know what my purpose is, right? But it's just, you need to actually listen. You need to ask the questions, and then you need to listen. And then in regards to clarity, you get clarity on your purpose when you start stepping into it, when you start taking the actions around it, right? It doesn't happen beforehand. Because a lot of light workers are all like, I want evidence. Give me the evidence that this stuff works. It's like, if that's your approach, you're going to be waiting a long time. Because if you are truly a light worker and you're working with light and you're working with energy, then you get to work with the energy of what you cannot see physically first. And then be like, this is my vision. This is what I'm seeing, because I'm a visionary. And now I'm going to move forward with that aligned intention, even though it's not physically on this realm yet, right? That's why it's your vision, because it's going to be created on this earthly realm because of you, if you step forward, right? Yes. And so that is, get clear on what you want and your purpose so you can be focused in your intention, because then when you do that, then when you create your intention, it's going to be clear. You're going to feel really solid about it. You'll feel really at peace in your heart about it. And then it's going to be powerful, because you're going to be like ding with your energy, right? Number 4, hold the conscious intention of what you want. Focus on what you create. I said this earlier, not on what you don't want or are afraid of, since you are getting cosmically backed by what you're focusing on now, right now. So that's where you get to get super clear about what it is you are creating and what you're deciding to create in the future. Number 5, be willing to sit with and move through any discomfort that arises, and get curious about what you're being shown. And so, I touched upon this earlier in the broadcast, but it's really, when light workers, especially when you're at the beginning of your spiritual journey, it's like, chop, chop, I want to be enlightened yesterday, it's like, it doesn't work like that, right? Ascension is a journey, not a trophy. So you get to do the work. You get to sit with the discomfort of all the things that you have created, that you've just newly realized that you've created, that you're not aligned with, right? So all the things and that commonly happens when you first wake up too. And, when you expand even further, because there are levels and levels and levels of awakening in yourself and opening up into your power. Like, if you're committed to your growth, it never ends, right? It's always a next level. So you get to be willing to sit with any discomfort you move through, because guaranteed, anyone that you see or that you perceive as powerful got there because they were willing to stand in the fire of their own transformation. They were willing to be in the gauntlet of all the challenges that they were facing and keep going, right? Like they said, I'm willing to stay and keep going. And that's something that I do myself, is that I hold the line, right? I hold the line for myself. I hold the line for my clients, because, I hold myself high and I hold my clients high, because, you're capable. Everyone here is capable. So I hope that's resonating. Just checking in with you if this is resonating for you, all the stuff that I am sharing about the Lion's Gate, how to activate the energies. I'm seeing here by Jess, so aligned with this message. I'm grateful for you. You're welcome. Okay. Yes, Gisela is sharing that she's feeling this. Will these points be written down? No. That's why you got a notebook. That's why you got a pen, you got a computer, you can make some notes, right? And that's always the best way to really anchor in that message for yourself, because whatever I share, I could make some bullet points for you, but the reality is that when you actually take down what's relevant to you, then you learn faster, right? So important. Alchemy Coach is saying, yes, taking lots of notes. Absolutely. Absolutely. So I'm opening this up now for questions about the Lion's Gate and, working with these powerful energies of the Lion's Gate on 8/8 today. And so just to recap, if you're just joining us, I talked about what this portal is about, the special alignment that comes once a year, why it's important for all light workers to consciously create with these frequencies now, how it can feel in your body and show up in your life, and also how to work with these powerful Lionsgate energies. So I hope that this has been helpful to you, and let me know what your questions are about this topic. And we'll see if I can answer them while we're here live. And in the meantime, I'm going to share with you that if what I've shared with you so far has been really inspiring, has helped you, has made you feel super supported in what you're moving through right now, you know, consider that perhaps it's time for you to be supported in a deeper way. And that's something that I do with my private clients. And if this is something that resonates for you, if you're curious what working with me on a deeper level could look like for you, then DM me. Or if you just want to go cut to the chase, you can book a call. You can apply to book a call with me, which the link is in my bio on Instagram. And I can put the link here on Facebook if that's something that would serve you. Okay. Jess is sharing, so I've been cleansing and clearing. Do you recommend this is a great time to visualize what we are continuing to create? Yeah, that's definitely, that was one of the talking points I shared, right? Was like really focusing on what you want to create. And I think you're focusing more on the visualization thing. Yes, visualize. Visualize, make it real, you know, what it is you are here to create, like see it, feel it, smell it, taste it even, and be like, yep, that's it. That's what I'm going to be creating now, you know, and really make it alive, because when you make it sensory and you actually feel, and most importantly, sensing the accomplishment of that experience, right? Like, I mean, this is you basically connecting with your future self, not your higher self, because someone got it confused and said, oh yeah, your higher self is your future self. No, they're not. They're not the same. So yeah, you're basically connecting with your future self, and you're actually feeling the embodiment of that experience, collapsing time, and then functioning from that place, right? This is something I teach my private clients on in a little more detail, because I know I just basically brought it into a little nutshell. So hopefully that made sense. I'm seeing the question here, what's the best way to clear my energy to receive messages from my higher self? Well, you know, I mean, there's so many ways to clear your energy. And it also depends, right? Like if you want to receive messages from your higher self, anything that you're holding in your heart, that's kind of a distraction for you at this moment. So like, for instance, if you're thinking about if you have a problem, like let's say there's some personal problem you're moving through, and it might be kind of like taking place in your heart, and it's taking up space even in your heart, so it's hard for you to like tap in, then, you know, do the healing work around that, you know, heal that. If there's healing work that needs to happen, then tap into that, see what's needed. Maybe it's forgiveness work, maybe it's acknowledging it, right? And maybe it is accepting it. Maybe it's something where you finally let go of something, right? But only you would know how best to address that. And but it's about really tapping into your body, connecting in, saying, okay, and you can even literally just ask your heart, like, are we ready to tap in and connect with our higher self right now? And you'll definitely hear a yes or a no if you're listening, because your heart will always speak to you, always. And yeah, if you can't hear your higher self, just keep trying, right? Keep trying. And try the next day, right? Or just like try again and just be still and then tap in. So I hope that helps. Okay. Someone here sharing, my energy has me decluttering and preparing myself for what's to come. That's awesome. Whenever you declutter, you're also clearing out the energy fields, because it's all connected, energy and physical. Okay. So as a reminder, I'm only going to be answering questions that are related to this topic, right? Like your general, you know, give me a psychic reading thing. I don't do that on here. Okay. Melanie is asking, should I be charging any of my crystals with the sun rays from today? Absolutely. I would recommend it. Absolutely. Because they are going to get charged up with a juju if you want, like, because it's not only just today. Like, today is kind of the peak of it, but it's not like it, right? So you could actually leave it all up and open for like the entire cycle of, well, it's past July 26th, but up until August 12th, if you desire, if you're feeling that, if that's what your intuition is calling you to do. Okay. Okay, why on earth would non-light workers claim that the Lion's Gate is something dark? I mean, what's to gain by saying that? This is a great question, because I've heard this before, meaning that I've seen it before on social media where, people are like, it's evil, it's demonic, it's not demonic. That's called distraction energies. Ignore them. Ignore them all, right? It's a distraction. And they're probably just confused too, right? They might not be, they're clearly manipulated, unfortunately. There's a lot of that going on, because when you don't do the inner work, you're going to just easily be manipulated. And that's why I'm always talking about clearing your fears, healing your traumas. Because if you do not, you become this kind of like vessel for whatever wants to come in. Right? When you're not claiming your power, when you're not claiming and taking ownership of who you are, something else will, right? And so it's up to you to be very diligent with your energy, because there's a lot of vacancies, I'll call it, going on now because of what a lot of people are opting into in terms of their bodies. So that's creating a lot of this kind of distraction energy because people are not very clear, maybe even confused. But honestly, you get to pray for those folks. And I'm not saying this in a sarcastic way either. Like, you get to pray for those folks because they're going to have a tough time with what's coming in the very near future, in the next couple months, as things get more intense and more things get revealed and more energies start to hype up and, all this other stuff. And then, star families, dropping in and things. They've been around since, I don't know, 40 years already, at least, in more communication. But it's just like those same people who are saying these things, they are being messed with. I'll just put it that way. So just pray for them, like, honestly, and in a genuine way, like, truly pray for them because they're going to have a tough time. And this is also something that I want to share about the Lion's Gate, is that, and also about these energies in general too, that are so heightened, including the Schumann resonance. It's going to really just bring out who you really are. And if you, at the core of your being, are a good person, you're just going to be more of that. It's going to amplify, you're going to feel blissed and all that stuff. And this is not about good or bad, okay? But what I'm saying is that whatever you inherently are, it's going to get amplified. And it's not about how awake you are either, right? Like, it's not like you get rewarded if you're more awake or some bullshit like that. That's not true. Because even if you're not really that awake, or if you're new on your spiritual path, but at the heart of yourself and your core, you mean well and you want to create light in the world somehow, you will get those upgrades. You will feel that expansion. And because you haven't maybe done the work at that point yet, your path may be a little slower, but it will get faster, and you will get those downloads, and you will get the codes that you acquire, right? If you want them, and if you ask for them, and if you know how to clear your own energies. So I hope that was helpful. Christy's saying, thank you. You motivated me to go sit out in the sun with my crystals to bring in the energy. Yeah, get those sun codes. They are so amazing. Yes, and someone is sharing, forgiveness is so important here. Absolutely. A lot of times the forgiveness work is some of the work that you need to do right now, right? Like, anywhere where you're avoiding, that's where you need to do the work. That's where the work's calling you. Okay. Oh, this is a great question about your power, or about the Lion's Gate 2, and about being more awakened in your power. Someone's sharing here, I've been feeling I have a power since I could remember, but I feel cocky admitting it. I guess it's another self-doubt questioning thing, but I wanted to ask how I can manage around that feeling. So the reason why that is definitely part of this Lionsgate thing is because it's going to amplify your feelings. It's going to amplify everything, right? And just like as I said, you know, when you are inherently good and you want to do good in the world, you just will get backed up with that, right? One thing that I'm also noticing, since I live in the middle of New York City and I see a lot of things firsthand, is a lot of people who are resisting their power or who are denying their own light or who don't want to do the work for whatever reason. They're having a really tough time. Like, I mean, they're the ones who are out in the streets, you know, at night that I hear losing their minds, basically, right? And that's because that's their choice, right? Whenever you are receiving upgrades, you can choose to receive them or not. And that's powerful because you're a sovereign being. We get to choose. But to answer your question here, you are not cocky by taking ownership of your gifts. That is your ego talking. Because your ego is not just, oh, I'm full of myself, right? That's not the only way ego shows up. Your ego also shows up by saying, who do you think you are? Who are you to be talking about yourself like this, right? Because, I mean, also, that's not you. That's probably something that you heard from some elder growing up, you know, saying, don't be so full of yourself, right? Or maybe you heard it from other people. But here's the way to remedy that is take ownership of yourself. Take ownership of your powers, because if you don't, you will be super afraid of other people's judgments. You're going to care too much about other people's judgments and feelings about you, and you just won't show up in life. And that's what will happen if you don't accept your power, because you're going to be so afraid of what other people are going to say. And honestly, a lot of light workers are going to choose that path of not taking ownership of their voice, of their authenticity, of their power, because they're going to be too worried and more concerned about other people's opinions about them instead of being more concerned about their mission in life, right? And the reason why that happens is because they don't fully accept themselves. So until you do that, you're going to be questioning yourself. You're going to still be taking other people's opinions into account about you, about your life, about what you should do with your life, right? Like anyone should have a, you know, like, I mean, it's nice to have suggestions and recommendations, but if someone is, no one can live your life for you, right? No one. You are the owner of your life. Okay. So I'm seeing a question here, how to release recurring childlike fears. Fears of losing loved ones, death, abandonment, etc. Planning a wedding is revealing this as well, as I'm sure celestial movement and personal spiritual growth. Yeah, so it looks like there's still a lot of stuff that's unhealed for you yet that you get to go deeper on, right? Because if you've done some work, awesome, but there's some deeper work to be had here. And you might even want to check, you know, past life stuff too, because it looks like there's some lingering stuff going on. How can we use the Lionsgate to prepare for the coming months? Good question. Well, you can start with, what do you want to create in the next coming months? And you might even give yourself like 6-month time or like a 12-month time. Just like give yourself a number. And then create an intention while you're in this powerful portal time and say, okay, in 6 months time, this is what I desire. This is what I want to accomplish. This is my goal, right? That's how you can be intentional about it. And then allow yourself to get, you know, energized, revved up by the Lionsgate portal energies towards that outcome. So again, it's about intention. Okay. So another person saying, gonna get all mine outside now. Thanks, Crystal. Yeah, so it sounds like more crystals are gonna be getting some sun today. All right. So someone's asking, we should be manifesting during this time, correct? Well, you shouldn't be manifesting. You are manifesting. You're constantly in a state of manifestation. You're constantly manifesting something. It's all based on your decisions. And that's happening every moment of your life. But during this time, you get to be more intentional about it because you get more backing around this time. Okay. And I'm looking at the questions here. How do I keep my vibration high whilst those around me have a low vibration? And I'm answering this because this is not, it might sound more of a general question, but this is pertaining to this energy, right? And about cultivating your energy for this time. So the reality is that, you know, like, rather than having it be on others to take care of your own power and your energy, right? Other people are not responsible for your energy. You are. You are the sole person who's responsible for your energy, no one else, right? No one's responsible for your happiness except yourself. No one's responsible for you taking ownership of your power except you. So if you are around a bunch of people who you feel are not supporting your vision, who don't lift you up, who don't hold you high, who, as you were saying, not high vibe, right? Then you get to make a decision about that. What do you want to create? Again, going back to what is it that you want to create? What do you want to experience? And then make your shifts around that and allow yourself to make the shifts. And the reality is that when you continually grow and you're committed to your path of growth, things will change. They will change, even your relationships. And allow yourself to be okay with that. Because the people who are meant to come with you will come with you. Those who are not will not, and that's okay. It's not a judgment on them or you. It's just that's how it is. Your energy levels are simply just no longer congruent, right? Like before, it was you were here. But then as you start to grow, you start shifting into a different frequency, and they may either be here or they may be here, but either way, you're not seeing eye to eye, right? And that's not a judgment call on anyone. It's just energy. So I hope that's helpful. Okay. And so, by the way, that might mean that you might need to remove yourself from the company of those people or establish some healthy energy boundaries in other ways with them if those are individuals you want to stay around with. So, okay. So I think that's going to be where we're going to stop because we're already past the top of the hour. And you had some really great questions. Really great questions, everyone. And I love how you were very curious. And I love how you are inquisitive and curious about next steps, right, for yourself and what you're creating in the world. And this is very exciting because it's exciting for you about your path and what you're creating. Okay. All right. And you're welcome, Melanie. And I hope that really served you. Make sure, if you're just joining us now, since we're wrapping up, make sure you check out the replay. It's going to be on the video page on both Instagram and Facebook. So make sure you check that out. And again, if this is something that really ignited something deeper in yourself around what you're creating in the world, around what you are wanting to create, and you are ready to really commit to being that new earth leader who's showing up in the world and would love to be deeply supported around that by me in deeper work, and you're ready for what that could look like and you're curious about it, then I encourage you to apply for booking a call with me so that we can have a discussion about what those next steps could look like. And just a reminder, it's not a psychic reading call. It ain't any of that because I don't do that. And it's going to be really to discuss where I could serve you, how I can support you, and just really see where you're at and see how I can help. That's really what it's about. So enjoy the Lionsgate. I hope this gave you some good tools to really amplify the frequency and really expand your light in the world and, you know, really make a difference because it's game time, Lightworker. It's game time now, and it wasn't game time in 2020. That was training wheels. So was last year. It's game time now. So that means it's time for you to get out of your comfort zone and do the thing that you came here and incarnated on this planet to do. And if you want some support around that, and yes, I help with the strategy and how to build your business as a spiritually conscious entrepreneur, and I really help you with embodying your spiritual power so that you can make all of that juiciness happen in the world. Okay, so much love, light, and power to you. Enjoy the rest of your day and the rest of this portal.